first one I'm going to look at though is a band called Emigrate, with their third album is called A Million Degrees. They are like an alternative industrial German rock band, and it's a side project of the guitarist of Rammstein, Richard Z. Krusp. I did the roll in the R. I hope I've done that right. So when I found that Richard had a side project, I went into it at their second album. It had, it wasn't self-titled, it was the first one. Second album, and I was expecting like, yeah, it's Rammstein 2.0. It's not that at all. Rammstein, I think it'd be unfair to say a one-of-a-kind type band, because the New Deutschharte, or however you pronounce German, that movement of oomph and KMFD. That's right, isn't it? KMFD. The ones who got blamed for Columbine. That sort of scene, it's known for like the big, hard industrial metal sound, and but it's just Rammstein managed to do it so well that it appealed to a much broader audience. But either way, I was still expecting like Rammstein 2.0. It's very much not that. This is a chance. This project is a chance for Richard to sort of experiment more on guitar, if nothing else, because his, as big as his riffs sound on Rammstein, they are often quite, I don't want to say basic, that's mean, but they are not a groove metal band, so to speak. They're not a band known for intense technical riffage, if that is a word. So yeah, Emigrate was a chance to sort of like broaden a little bit more, go not 100% softer, but just like go more rocky terrains. And this album itself has a lot of like 80s goth rock post punk vibes. I think that is down to the fact he's got quite an old school style voice, and I can't think of another way of describing it. It feels like it would sit well in the sort of mid to late 80s, with like just a wall of weird synths going on in the background, which this album has a lot of. The excuse me, on a song like "Lead You On," it's got guest vocals from a lovely young lady called Margot Bossio. Hope I pronounced that right. We'll talk about her a little bit more in a bit. And the bounce between her, quite almost quite haunting vocals on the verses, and then he comes in with the most Rammstein-esque chorus of the song, and he sort of like goes like a bit like deepens his voice a little bit, but it's not quite Till, because Till is 4 octaves below the known universe. And then when you get to a song like "You Are So Beautiful," it is very eclectic electro rock, and yeah, it's a little bit floaty, and yeah, so it's a chance for him to like do a little bit more with his musicianship. He's got quite an interesting like cast of guests on the album. So I mentioned before, Margot. It is, well, she is Kruspe's. I'm going to call him Richard, because I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right. She is Richard's partner. She is formerly of a punk band called Dirty Mary. Now currently of like a rock, just a, I think it's an indie rock band called Slipping Away. She was on Lead You On, like I said, very. She's got quite like a. It's not haunting the same way as Chelsea Wolf or Mirko or something like that, but just it sort of like cuts through you a little bit in a good way. Then you've got Ian Desar and Ben. I can't pronounce your last name, from Billy Talent, for the song. I'm going to call it 1, 2, 3, 4, because I feel like I've butchered the German language enough today. And it's a weird one. So it sounds like a full-on pop punk song, just interluded with this massive industrial riff just before the chorus, or like in the pre-chorus bit. And yeah, it's quite bizarre to hear a man so associated with the like big industrial metal sound. And even on this, although it is like a lot of tone down from Rammstein, it is still in that industrial bubble, for lack of a better word. This is just a straight up pop punk song. It's a good one. Ben does a really good job on it. I've always liked Ben as a Ben as a vocalist, so it was always going to be. And I think as a lead single as well, which I thought was quite brave on Gritch's part. And then you've got kind of the obvious one outside of Marco. You've got Till Lindemann from Rammstein. He's on this really big synth-heavy, gothic-y song, which surprisingly is not the most Rammstein-sounding song on the album, but it's a very, again, this album drowning in like gothic themes and sounds, like straight from the 80s, and you've got his very low rumble again, just bouncing through. And finally, you've got Tobias Forge, or Cardinal Copia, or whatever he's going by these days, from Ghost. And he's on a song called I'm Not Afraid, which is just a very, very, very standard industrial rock song. That's pretty much all I took from it. Rammstein Die Hard may struggle, like I said, I kind of did when I first listened to him back into the day. My first song from them was a song called New York City, and it is very much an industrial rock song. It's nothing. It sounds very, very minimally like Rammstein. The song Spitfire literally has like a pop, like na 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 na. I feel like OG Rammstein Die Hard might not appreciate the na 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 na's. Dangerously close to My Chemical Romance territory there. And it is a lot more restrained, like I said, to Rammstein. With it's got such more of an old school rock kind of sound to it, and it's got, like I've mentioned about his guitar playing on this, it is a lot more hook driven, I guess, for a lack of a better term. It's got little like guitar bits here and there. I can't really describe very well without being a guitarist, but it just feels like, because it's his project and he can do whatever he likes, but he's just having a lot more fun with the guitar, and he can put in a lot more like weird and wonderful riffs in there, which he couldn't usually use on Rammstein. And with that in mind, it is quite a fun little album for someone like, I'm not a big fan of like the old school rock sound, but like I said, his voice is very, very interesting. His guitar playing, the fact that he can like expand a little bit more, is just it just keeps you going, basically. Hide and Seek has a fucking great chorus, and it's got him at his best vocally. It's just this big shout at the start of the chorus, and it slowly goes into him like more like calm singing. It just keeps bouncing between that, and the beat throughout the verse is a really, really good song. And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4. It's an interesting one for me, because for me, whenever you get like a big, because I'll say, let's face it, Rammstein, pretty big. When you get like a big artist like that who goes off and does do a solo album away from the main big band, you always kind of feel like this is his thing to do, and then he's just going to bring in mates and say, just sing this part, or play this part, or do what you want. Whereas with 1, 2, 3, 4, it actually feels, because of how like pop punk it is, it feels like he brought Ben and Ian in and said, come on, let's all write a song, guys. Power of friendship and all that shit. And yeah, I just think this is, it wouldn't, none of the albums I'm going to go for today would have hit top 20 territory, but for what it is, it's a really fun album, this. If you liked, what was I comparing it to? If you remember Device, which is a tall ask, it was the side project of David Draymond from Disturbed. Like I said, as much as he was pretending it wasn't an industrial rock album, which it really was, I find a lot of like comparisons to that. Obviously, different kind of vocalist, because David Draymond is quite unique in his vocal approach. I found more latter day Rob Zombie. Again, vocals different, but musically I feel like there could be a lot of comparisons to this. And one of my favourite albums from a couple of years back was Dreamcar, which was the supergroup project between Davey from AFI and the rhythm section, basically everyone that wasn't Gwen Stefani, from No Doubt. They met together to get this 80s synth-back alt-rock album. It was fucking great. And yeah, if you listen to that, I think, or if you've already had it before, which is unlikely because barely anyone listened to it, If you like that, I reckon you can go for this, and yeah, be a good crossover.